New Mexico, land of enchantment. That's 121,697 square miles of beautiful sunsets, expansive deserts, forests, small towns, city life, and these people.
Maple syrup! Coffee.
Yup, New Mexicans. But I'm also a New Mexican. I was born in Alamogordo. I have lived in New Mexico for most of my life. I've been told my family has been here in New Mexico since before New Mexico was even a New Mexico. But I'm gonna have to look into that. Wanna know who else is a New Mexican? This guy. She is. He is. Her. Him. They are. Them. And I think this. That. And yes, even this cat. New Mexico's history and culture is extremely diverse, but the one thing I think makes New Mexico so New Mexico is our unique traditions that the rest of the world knows nothing about. To outsiders, we're known as Breaking Bad country or the Wild West. I bet mall Santas in Santa Clara have heard of Santa Fe, and circus clowns in Pie Town know of the Balloon Fiesta. But do people from Alabama think of weather reports when they see the name Al Hurricane? Then I realized, what other things are so New Mexican that the rest of the world knows nothing about? Take, for example, red or green chili. Ask for chili in any other state. You're most likely going to get a Frito pie. I don't even want to know what happens if you order at Christmas.
I want to know, why do we eat chili that is so hot that you can hear it?
Personally, I don't tolerate hot food very well, being from the Midwest.
How do we explain to someone from Toledo about a farolito? But aren't they the same thing as luminarias? Guess what? They're not. It doesn't just end with bags of sand and peppers, but other things started to mess with me. Billy the Kid? Isn't he supposed to be a bad guy who did bad things? Why is he loved? Why was this house built this way? Is La Llorona a New Mexico story? I've been living in New Mexico so long that it pains me to find out I really know nothing about New Mexico. Everything I thought I knew, I took for granted. For everything I didn't know, I had to find someone way smarter than me to find out. That's why I created this show. I want to try to learn about the strange traditions, cultures, and stories found right here in New Mexico. Why do we do them? Who's behind them? And what makes them uniquely New Mexican? So what the is New Mexico? So I asked,
So what the is Route 66?
I don't know what the it is.
okay, my bosses said I couldn't end it so quickly, so here we go.
A really long road that has some very old songs.
First of all, I think it's something that connects our nation.
Obviously a passageway, right, for people to come and be together.
We've all heard of Route 66, but did you know there's no such thing as Route 66? There's no road on any government-sanctioned map that is officially called Route 66. The road does not exist. Route 66 is a figment of our imagination. If you could ask Biggie, it was all a dream.
Since 10 a.m.
Okay, you're right. It doesn't end there. I'm wrong. I'm not an expert. I did some research on Route 66, and this is what I found. I found out Route 66 is actually a diner, a root beer, a casino,
Bingo time.
a cute thing written on that sign, this one, and something these people want to spend a lot of money on and call a visitor center. So essentially, this is a visitor center that doesn't exist yet for visitors to visit something that doesn't exist anymore. Before Route 66 was Route 66, the open land first met footprints with our ancestors. Then wagon wheels would help wear down paths across our country. As more people traveled these trails, cars would take over and fill them. Then car owners would create auto clubs and trade maps to help each other find easier ways to get around.
This is a 1930 pickup truck. We built it from scratch, found it in 3 different places around Albuquerque and Colorado, and put it together. We drove it out to Denver, up to Pikes Peak and back. It took us 4 days.
Essentially, people needed better roads. Politicians, Woodruff and Avery lobbied for a route between Chicago and LA. Then on April 30th, 1926, Route 66 was born.
In New Mexico, it goes from Tucumcari to Santa Rosa, and then from Santa Rosa it goes north to just a few miles south of Las Vegas, New Mexico, and then down into Santa Fe, and then down the old highway into Albuquerque, which is 4th Street. And then from there it goes down Isleta to the reservation, and across the reservation over to Highway 47, and then down 47 to Los Lunas, and then across there out Highway 6.
Then in 1937, Route 66 was straightened to reduce some travel time. It dropped 107 miles from its trek, saving people hours, but it cut out Santa Fe and Los Lunas from the map.
Albuquerque is the only place on Route 66 that Route 66 crosses Route 66. You can go to a four-way stop on what's 4th Street and Central Avenue. You can stand at the corner of Route 66 and Route 66.
The straightening would continue once again, as interstates would cross the country and a majority of Route 66 became I-40. Then on June 26, 1985, the name Route 66 came to an end. But the story of Route 66 is not over. Why do we hold a dead road so close to our heart?
Obviously a passageway, right, for people to come and be together. I have friends who live in other parts of the country and they come through here and they always want to go down Route 66. So I think it's like a way to bring people together and a way to just be a part of history. And so you'll find that a lot of the parts on Route 66 are very 60s and 70s, still, that beautiful architecture from back then. And it's a way to reminisce about that and bring people back through the ages and just together.
Well, I mean, Route 66 and Albuquerque Central is this mainstay of Albuquerque and culture, and it's been, downtown has been on the forefront of culture throughout all the different incarnations. You have lowriders here that have been coming here for ages, and so this is way back when neon lights and stuff and that art scene kind of exploded all throughout Route 66 and Central. It was just lit up with these neon lights, and that culture with the Hispanic culture kind of morphed into these amazing things. And I think that this part of town just draws artists here. There's so much history and so much culture, and in the last decade it's really started to flourish.
As people traveled from Chicago to Santa Monica, every so often someone would stop in New Mexico and stay for a while.
I'm originally from the Midwest, Michigan and Ohio, and I was working in Chicago. I'd been there about 20 years doing computer work primarily.
Well, at the time I was traveling and living in San Francisco, and everything just got too expensive and I needed to settle down. I was tired of being on the move so much.
So my husband's family lived out here, and we came out here for Thanksgiving one year, and he looked at me and he said, "How would you feel?" And I said, "About what?" And he said, "Moving to New Mexico." And I said, "Let's go." It was something about seeing the mountains when the sun is going down that drew me to this place.
Sort of was tired of the big city and the congestion, so I decided to take a road trip, and a friend of mine from Chicago had moved out here to Albuquerque. So I got on Route 66 and took the trip I was actually heading out to California, and got to Albuquerque and met my buddy and was going to stay one night. And I'm still here 17 years later.
I came out here to New Mexico because my sister was out here, and also my family's from here originally. And I was like, let me just put in my time here and see what I can build, and that's pretty much why I came out here and stayed out here.
My memories of Route 66 go way back. You know, as a kid, when our family, the Padrell family, moved to New Mexico in the late 50s, you know, all of them lived in a boxcar. There's 13 of them in a boxcar. And somewhere along the way, they came up with the idea to start a restaurant. Tried, failed, and finally when they moved to 11309 Central, it took off. And at the time, Central was just this place that was so vibrant, and there was no empty lots. You know, Central from one end to the other was just packed with businesses.
In Albuquerque, you could have a dinner in a diner from Roswell. You could see the Statue of Liberty or visit Off-Broadway. You could play billiards or play billiards. Look, a place for couples. Where else can you find a set of double Ds? There is so much to do on Route 66. The entertainers have their own communities.
I am a drag entertainer, theater enthusiast, actor, singer, kind of dancer when it's not too difficult. And that's all by night, and by day I am an aesthetics teacher.
I am a painter primarily. I'm categorized as a spiritual surrealist painter.
The brew pubs were popping up in the neighborhood, and we thought, well, maybe wonder if a restaurant would work with no restaurant experience.
We are in a contemporary revolution right now, and so much of our history and the Southwest, I mean, people very much have this deep history of Southwestern art, and we all know, you know, Southwestern art with, you know, color schemes and coyotes and adobe and turquoise and stuff like that. But I think that the new generation of artists are coming in with all of these new perspectives.
My art is I'm probably like the slowest painter in Albuquerque, I would probably say, as far as like street artist goes. I put about, I think, a minimum of like a month at the least into a mural. It's usually somewhere between a month, and depending on like how familiar I am with my sketch and design, it could take me a short amount of time. But recently, every time I do a mural, I try to do something new, so it usually takes me a little bit longer than normal to try to do things, because I'm always trying to get through that, I guess, awkward phase of trying to figure out how to paint something I've never painted before and make it look right.
I actually just got an art studio here. Me and another artist named William Wooten. We teach a painting class, painting and drinking class, and we're the pigment pushers. And so you can come and get into it, and we'll teach you how to paint something in a few hours, and it's lots of fun.
So with this business, with this building right here, when we moved locations from being just a bar to being a restaurant, bar and grill, we knew that we would have a smaller cabaret for more intimate shows and stand-ups and like karaoke nights kind of thing. So we were actively looking for another location that we can actually take all the cultural and community-oriented things that we were doing at the old location and bring it and expand upon it in a new location, which is the Black Cat Cultural Enterprise.
A lot of times, as people who are disenfranchised or anything like that, like the queer community or, you know, people of color or anything like that, when we see strides that are being made by our leaders to promote that we are here and that we are valid, it makes us that much more powerful, that much more strong, and it makes our message that much clearer that we are here. We are not going anywhere. You can't beat it out of us. And we have spaces that we can be ourselves in.
In 2019, city officials gave back to the LGBTQIA community with a specialized crosswalk.
I will never forget the day that was put out, because that was Albuquerque's way of saying that, that we are valid and we are here and we belong in this town, and that they support us in whatever way that they can. And having that at that specific spot, being, 500 feet from the bar that has been there since 1971, is so special. And it was so touching for us who were on the board when it was placed, and for our members who were at the bar, to see that we were finally being brought to the table.
If you ever wished you could take a stroll through the heyday of Route 66, you can. Every Sunday, car enthusiasts bring out their finest wheels and cruise downtown Albuquerque.
We ride, it's just a bunch of us friends. We just, on Sundays, we gather up in the morning. We decide, hey, let's go for a ride today. We go for a ride on, to car shows, any gatherings, anything that we could do, We just like being in the old Route 66 and the community, all of us getting together, and this is what it's about.
This is where we're from. We're here from New Mexico, and we live on Route 66.
It's about low and slow, and taking pride in what you build, And
they enjoy showing it off.
My sisters used to take me back in the day when I used to be, 11, 12 years old. There used to be a place called San Gabriel back in the day right there by Tingley Beach. She would throw me in the back seat, and I'd be looking at all the lowriders, and I would say, one day I'm going to build me some lowriders. And, as time got older and older, I started realizing, it takes money and a lot of encouragement to build a nice looking ride, as you could see. And day by day, I got me a car, bought me some Impalas, and started fixing it up and just hanging out and being with good people, It's been in our culture for a long time, and we try to have good things out here, but other people kind of mess it up for us,
I think it's an expression of our culture, and I think it's a way for the family to jump in a car and go down and enjoy their city. And we live in a beautiful state. I mean, Albuquerque is home, and it's a beautiful state. There's beautiful people here, generous people, and getting on, coming through these streets and cruising down Central has just always been a thing here, I mean, we don't have a whole lot of things to do in Albuquerque, and the car life is one of those outlets.
Well, there's cruising, and then there's guys that are racers, and they think that Central's a race spot when it should be just for cruisers. So that's why the cops get involved, because you got the guys in the younger community that come out and do burnouts and stuff.
People that come down and cruise on Central and do burnouts and mess it up for the rest of us. We're trying to have family, like I said, an event, and they just come and they start burning out and they want to race. We're not about racing and stuff like that. Take that to the racetrack.
So if Route 66 isn't a road, what is it? A spirit? A fantasy? A dream? Route 66 was never a single road to begin with. The many roads it came from were created by people to connect people to people. The road Route 66 died the same way it came to be, by getting replaced with something bigger, faster, and more efficient. What Route 66 actually did is more important than what a couple of politicians were intending to do. It created pockets of communities all across the country and connected them by a single strip of asphalt. Behind every door on Route 66 is a story. We could dance a piece, we could take the streets to the rhythm of the night. So what the is Route 66?
It's about getting up on a Sunday morning, washing your car down, waxing it, buffing it, making it look good, cruising, going to Central, or any car show that you want, and hang out with good people, like I said, family orientated. And just being around good people and having a good time,
I believe that Route 66 actually brought me to the point in my life that I'm in right now. I believe that traveling that road got me to where I am.
I still don't know what Route 66 actually is, but I do know it's a place my stepdaughter can dance.
We can make a storm. There's a spirit born to the chaos in our eyes.
So the next time you're on Central, 4th Street, I-40, or anywhere else that used to be Route 66, look around. There's so much about Route 66, I barely scratched the surface. And I have a whole state to cover. So I had to ask, what the is New Mexico?
The land of green and red chili. Home.
It's funky and it's weird, but it's home. New Mexico is home.
When I go away, there's nothing better than coming back and seeing that mountain chain right there and saying, man, I'm finally home.
Take the streets to the rhythm of the night. We can make a storm. There's a spirit born to the chaos in our eyes. Love struck. Well, love struck. So true. Love struck. Baby, I'm love struck. Love struck. Baby, I'm love struck. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Love struck. So in love with you. Well, love struck. So true. Love struck. Baby, I'm love struck. Well, love struck. Baby, I'm love struck. Love struck.
I've had 2 kids because of that road.